Very good afternoon, everybody. Why is the strength less today? Sorry? All right. So, what is that we were discussing in previous session? Hello? What were we discussing in the previous session? JSPs. I guess we tried to perform some insertion of data using a servlet and I guess sorry, not insertion. We were trying to display the data, correct? So if you remember yesterday, this was the program that we were writing where I tried to display some information. Not this workspace. All right. So this was a project that we wrote yesterday where I tried to have a button which was called as click here. As soon as I click here, I was calling one servlet and the name of the servlet was fetch all.java. So what was the duty of fetch all.java? It had written an SQL query in order to fetch all the details of employee from a table called as the employee table. So I wrote here a select star from employee and whatever the employee list I was getting, you can see here I have executed the query. Once I execute a query, I was getting a result set. So whatever this result set I was getting, I had created a list of array list called as the EMP list. So using this EMP list, I tried to call the add method and once I have got the employee object, I used to add it to the employee list. So in this way, whatever the employee list I had, I used to put this employee list into a session. I have put the employee list into a session. And once I have put it into a session, I was redirecting the control to show employee.jsp. Show employee.jsp. So once I go to the show employee.jsp, see in the project session yesterday, I tried to style it a little. Right, while I was explaining the project, I tried writing some CSS. I did not write it, by the way. So I added some CSS and styling to it. So I'll anyways ignore the styling, all of it. So what is that I was doing here is I had a message called as, oh, the employee list is here, and whatever the array list I had created, I had to get the employee list from the session. So I had written here a session dot get attribute of employee list. I told please cast it to array list of employee, and then I'm storing it in EMP list. Then I had run a for loop, enhanced for loop, in order to display employee ID, employee designation, salary, email and password. So anyways, there is some styling also which is around it, but if you are not aware of how to style it, you can ignore it. But whatever the logic I had written, this is the logic whatever I had written here. So now just to show it to you again, how does the application run? So if I run my application, it is saying here as click here. As soon as I click here, you can see whatever employees I had, it is displaying as a card. Yesterday I wrote it as a list. Here it is just as a card is what it is displaying. I hope you are able to understand this, right? So till here is what we had discussed in the previous session. So before I continue with the other CRUD operations, there are a little topics which I want to discuss about. So first topic is, see, half of it you already know. There is something called as implicit objects in JSP. Implicit objects in JSP. So what do you mean by this implicit objects in JSP? See, whenever you create a JSP page, I told you there are going to be few objects which you will readily get. You need not ask for that objects, you need not create those objects. So what are the various objects that I am going to get implicitly, sir, if you ask me? See, first and the foremost thing, I have one object. What is this object? This object is called as, it is an object for a class called as the HTTP servlet request class. I have an object for a HTTP servlet request class, and the name of this object, or by the reference of this object, is request. It is an object for a class called as HTTP servlet request. In the same way, I have one object for HTTP servlet response class, and the reference for it is response. So HTTP servlet request, HTTP servlet response. Then there is one more object for a class called as HTTP session, and the reference for this is session. Right? So tell me, these are few things that we were constantly using in our program. Along with this, one more thing, if I just have to tell you, there is one more object which is called as the print writer object. So what is the reference for the print writer, sir? We have already used it, called as out. Have we used out already in our JSP pages? So how did I use it? Out.println. I had used it as out.println. So along with this, if I just have to tell you, I have something called as a page context. I have something called as a page object. So what is this page object? I will tell you. So page context is one class. So for this page context class, there is a reference called as the application. Then page object is a reference. Page object is a reference, and for which is it reference, if you ask me? It is an reference for a current object. See, in Java you would use a reference called as this. You remember? You will use a reference called as this. Why are you using this? Sorry? Sir, it is referring to the current object, sir. In the same way, page object will refer to the current object in your JSP. I hope you are able to understand this. In the same way, there is one more object reference. There is one more object reference. Sorry, this is not page context. It should be servlet context. Okay. So this is servlet context. So Apart from this, you also have a reference called as exception. So total of 7 is what I have told. Along with this, there are many more. But mostly, if you ask me, in our project also, maybe we will be using out, request, response and session. There are many more objects. Total of 9 or 10 objects is what we will be getting whenever we use JSPs. And one advantage of your JSP is that you need not create any of these. You need not create any of these. Directly you can start using them. Directly you can start using them. I hope you are able to understand this, right? So having understood this, these are some of the implicit objects that are present in our JSP pages. Whenever I create any JSP file, all these objects are ready-made, available to us. We can directly call them, we can directly use them. I hope it is clear. So apart from this, there is one small thing that you need to understand. See, tell me, in your JSP pages, if I just have to tell you, I told you we will be using tags. Yes. What are the various tags that we are using in our JSP pages? First is directive tag, then declaration tag, then scriptlet tag and expression tag. So fourth one is expression tag. So these are the various tags that we were using. So along with this, if I just have to tell you, one thing you need to understand is if I have to take an example of a servlet, can you tell me what are the methods that I will get inside a servlet? Sir, there is a method called as the service method, then do get method, do post method, then is also init method and destroy method. Will you agree with me? See, just like how you have all these methods in your servlet, just like how you have all these methods in your servlet, in your JSP also you can have methods. In your JSP also you can have methods. Sir, what are the methods that I will have in my JSP, sir? See, in your JSP you can write init method, you can write destroy method. But whatever this init method and destroy method you will be writing, you will not write it as init method, rather you will write it as JSP init. You will write it as JSP destroy. Sir, what about the service method, sir? Service method you will put it inside a scriptlet tag. I hope you are able to understand this. You will put the service method inside the scriptlet tag. Sir, can I try writing this init method in my JSP page now? So let us try to write it here. Maybe I will get into my project, I will get into my showEmployee.jsp. In the showEmployee.jsp, see, maybe whatever initializations I have, I can put it here. So whatever I had written here inside the, again, if I write it here inside a method, it's going to be local. So what I will do is probably whatever I have here, this one, I am going to write it inside one method. What method? JSP init method. So I will say here as JSP, sorry. So JSP context, it's not letting me to write a method here. Anyways, I'll show this to you, that's okay. But what I'm trying to tell you here is just like how you had it in your servlets, in your JSPs also, you have different methods. What are the methods? One is JSP init, then whatever you will write in the service, you will write it here. See, exclusively we will not say it as JSP service method. We wouldn't exclusively say it as JSP service method, but we will have a service method which we will write it inside the scriptlet tag, and then we will also have something called as the JSP destroy method. Sir, we are going to have all these methods, correct. So one thing that I want you to understand now is whenever I am going to create one JSP page, let us assume I am going to write a JSP file which I will call it as demo.jsp. So what I am doing, I am going to create a file which is called as a demo.jsp. So what I am going to do with this demo.jsp is I am going to create it, I will try to execute the program. So while this JSP file executes, how will the JSP file execute is something that you need to understand. How will the JSP file execute is something that you need to understand. So tell me one thing, assume that I have created one file called as servlet file called as test.java. So if this test.java has to execute, how will this test.java execute? Sir, very simple, sir. Test.java, while it is executing, it will convert itself to test.class file, sir. Will you agree with me it has to convert to .class file? What is this process called as? This process of taking a Java file and converting it into a .class file. So basically .class and then converting it into bytecode, then converting it into machine level code, all this we call it as compilation phase. Will you agree with me? Right? So the same thing, converting .java to .class, we can still call it as compilation phase. Right? So when a Java file executes, it is going to convert it into a .class file, correct, sir. But what will happen when I try to execute a .jsp file? Whatever JSP file I have, if I try to execute this, what will happen? See, in my computer or in my project basically, we will have one software, or what we also call it as, we call it as a JSP container, right? We will have something called as a JSP container. So what this JSP container is going to do is this JSP container will take this demo.jsp file. It will take this demo.jsp file and it is going to convert this demo.jsp file. You can see here, it is going to convert this demo.jsp to demo underscore JSP dot Java file. It is going to convert demo.jsp to demo underscore JSP dot Java. What does this mean, sir? What does this mean? Hello? What does .java mean? It is a Java file. Are you able to understand this? Whenever you write a JSP file, your JSP file has to convert to Java file, or basically a servlet file, and then that servlet should execute. I hope you are able to understand this. Sir, I have a Java servlet. What will I do with this Java servlet, sir? Whatever this .java file I have, tell me, can I directly execute this Java file? I cannot execute this Java file directly. So I will call one more software. So let us assume I have a Java compiler and JVM together. Or let's assume only Java compiler is there. Can you tell me what will the Java compiler do now? Sorry? Sir, it will take this demo underscore JSP and it is now going to convert this demo underscore JSP to demo underscore JSP dot class. And where is this dot class file going to be present? It will be present in our web container. This is my web container, and in the web container I will now have a demo underscore JSP dot class. Now tell me, I have a dot class file. What do you mean by a dot class file? Sorry? It is a class, sir. If it has to execute, I will need an object. So your web container now will create an object for this demo underscore JSP. Maybe I will call it as some reference. Reference it will not give if I have to tell you, but one object it is going to create so that you can use that file. Sir, now you are telling me whatever the code that I have written, demo.jsp, is converted to .java file, sir. Yes or no? If it is converted to .java file, it should be present somewhere. Will you agree with me? If I am really saying a JSP file is converted to Java file, it should be present somewhere. Hello? Where is all this happening? In my project, sir, in my Eclipse workspace, sir. So what I will do is I will just identify one project, one file. Let us assume maybe in the same project, showEmployee.jsp is a file. Will you agree it is a JSP file? If this JSP file has executed, it means it has converted to .java file and then converted to .class file and executed. Will you agree with me? So I now want to identify where is this particular file, .java file present. So in order to identify it, I will do a thing. Maybe I will go to my project. In my project, I will right click, go to properties. In the properties, I can locate where is this project present. What is the workspace? I know workspace is Eclipse workspace September, but where exactly it is present, I don't know. So simply I will click on this button. It will open a folder where this project is present. Can you see all my projects are present here? Yes. Sir, where is this .java file present, sir? The generated .java file present. See, just to understand where the generated .java file is present, can you observe that there is a project called as CRUD, whatever we have created? If I open, whatever is the code that will be present here. But I will come back to my workspace. In my workspace, for some of you this may not be visible. You will have to unhide, go to properties, show more options, properties. You will be having hidden and all of it. read only, hidden and all of it. Maybe, so it is hidden now, properties. So you will have to open the read only files in that case. So what I will do is I just want you to observe there is one folder called as metadata, right? Dot metadata. Some of these files will be hidden in your case. You will have to open the read only files. So I will open this metadata. If you look at it again, there are another couple of files. In this, maybe I will go into a folder called as plugins. If I enter plugins, again there are so many files. I want to go to files related to Eclipse. So if I just scroll down, you can see there are files, I mean all of them are related to Eclipse only, but Eclipse core, there should be two core files here, 1 second, not this. Eclipse, JSTD, DT web, no. Eclipse, WST, SSE core, no. It is having a .core extension. .core extension 1, 2, 3 I tried. STDT, not this. .core metadata plugins. See in this plugins, okay. Eclipse JST server core, no. There are so many files, and everything looks similar. That is the problem. Here there was some core file. Sorry? One second. Let me search for, okay. Where is this folder present? So what I did is in search, in the same plugin section, I have searched for TMP open and close parenthesis. This is what I have searched for. So I just want to understand where is this present. Copy address. All right. So it is org eclipse wst server.core. Why didn't I find it then? Where did it go? In metadata, plugins, org eclipse wst server.core. Okay. So in server.core, I have a folder called as a TMP. If I open TMP, again there are so many other folders. In this, I'll have to go to work. In work, I'll have to go to Catalan host, local host. What project? Maybe which file I was looking for? I was looking for this file called as showemployee.jsp. Where is this showemployee.jsp? It is in a project called as CRUD. Will you agree with me? So I will enter this project called as the CRUD in org apache JSP. You can see here I have few files created. So I had index_JSP, index_JSP, dot class. Why? Because index.jsp I had created. That index.jsp is also converted to index underscore JSP dot Java. So dot Java is not there, but you can see it is a Java file. If I just hover on it, it reads as Java source file. But sir, I am interested to see what is there inside show employee underscore JSP, which is a Java file. If I right click, open with notepad, I will say, or no, open with edit plus. So once it opens with edit plus, so once it, what is happening? Is there no option to remove it? Okay. All right. So once if you just have a look at it, so you can see it has created a class called as show employee underscore JSP, which is a .java file, and it says it extends HTTP, JSP base and all of it. I am interested to see, array list it has created. So, there are some, internal methods or variables that it has got created. Then, whatever, where is it? Whatever I had written, you can see. Tell me, did I write any JSP init method? So, whatever I told you, you can have a JSP init method. So whatever you write in JSP init method, in .java file it will be called as underscore JSP init. In the same way, JSP destroy method in .java it is called as J underscore JSP destroy. I hope you are able to understand this. So apart from this, you can also see it has written or created something called as underscore JSP service. What is there in this underscore JSP service? I have written some lines of code. Whatever I have written, it has converted to its own lines of code. Then whatever out.println I had written just to print data, but it has made use of out.println as a HTML file completely. Whatever the entire styling I had added, all that it has created for us here. See, maybe just because there is a lot of styling, maybe this could look a little confusing. What I will do is I will show you index underscore JSP. So tell me, in index underscore JSP, there was only simple lines of code which I had written inside the service. So what is that I had written? I just told insert title here, then click here to fetch all. So you can see it has converted it internally to something called as a .java file. And what is there? It is having all the lines of code, whatever I had written in JSP, converted it into .java. Since there is nothing in init and destroy methods, you can see they are empty. And whatever the other logic I had written, everything it has put under the JSP service. It has put it under the JSP service. So I hope you are able to understand this, that whenever you write any JSP code, any JSP code that you write, what is going to happen internally? A JSP program using the JSP container is converted to .java file. That .java file will again be given to the compiler, so it will be creating a .class file. .class file will start executing. I hope you understand this. See, whatever this you are seeing here in this life cycle, I can break this down into 3 parts. I can break this down into 3 parts. The first part is taking a Java file, is taking a JSP file and converting it into a Java file. So this process we call it as the translation phase. We will call it as translation phase. Then taking a Java file, giving it to the compiler, generating a .class file. You already know it. It is called as compilation phase. Then taking the .class file, trying to execute it is only called as a execution phase. Right? So whenever you write any JSP file, if somebody asks you what is the life cycle, so you will say, sir, life cycle of a JSP file can be divided into different phases. First one is translation phase, compilation phase and execution phase. So in the translation phase, I will take a JSP file, convert it into .java file. .java I will convert it into .class, which is called as a compilation phase. .class file used in execution is only called as an execution phase. I hope you are able to understand this, right? So these are the three different phases when you have a JSP file. So having understood this, can we now go back to the project that we were working yesterday? So tell me, in the project that we were working yesterday, as of now, what is that I am able to do in my project? Is I am able to fetch the data, display the information. I am able to fetch the data, display the information. I guess I have 4 employees. So I am able to display 4 employee details like this. See, very simple. One thing I want you to understand is if I just remove away the styling, it will again be displayed in the form of a list only. But only thing is, I wanted to demonstrate yesterday in the project session how you can style it. So that is the reason I had styled it a little. Sir, now what I want to do is in the same project, I want to give one button to the user, sir. What should be this button if you ask me? There should be a button called as add employee button. So can you tell me which page was it? What was the name of the page which was displaying me all this information? It was show employee .jsp. So irrespective of whatever information is there in the show employee .jsp, I am now going to say I want one button. What was the name of the button? Add employee. I want to add a button called as add employee. Sir, in this add employee, once I click on this add employee, what should I do? So tell me, once I click on this add employee, what should I be doing? I should be calling one page. And this page, tell me, add employee, directly will you add employee or do you want to collect some data from the user? I need to collect some data. If I am collecting some data, should it be a front-end file? Yes or no? A front-end file. What are the options for your front-end file as of now? You can either use a HTML file or a JSP file. See, I am not going to use the HTML files when it comes to the project. You can choose using HTML because here there is no dynamic data. Here it is just collection of information. You can choose HTML file, but I will write a JSP file called as add employee .jsp. What will be there in add employee .jsp? I will collect all the details whatever I want from the user. I guess there were 6 information which I want to collect. I will collect all the 6 information from the user, and I am going to give one button called as the submit button. I will call the submit button. So tell me, once I call this in the project, if you remember, already I had written one file called as fetch file. Fetch.java was my servlet. Will you agree with me? Now I will create one more servlet called as insert.java. I will create insert.java. Once the user is going to click on the submit button, insert.java will be called. I will write some logic which will collect all the information, go to the database, perform the insertion into the database. Can you tell me whether if it is a successful insertion, what will be displayed to me? If it is successful insertion, sir, you are going to get back either 0 or 1. If it is success, you will be given 1. If it is failure, you will be given 0. If 0 is given to me, I will create one page, which I will call it as failure.jsp. Sir, if 1 is given to me, sir, success page. Do I want to see success page? Sir, I don't want to see success page, sir. Rather, what I want to see is a page called as show employee. I want to see a page called as show employee. I hope you are able to understand this. So I will say here, boss, if 1 is given to me, recall this page called as show employee. Can I try to execute this to see if I will be able to insert the employee and see the details about the employee? Can I try this? Yes. So for this, if I just have to go back to my project. So before that, let me go to the database. This is my database. In the database, it was September JEE. In September JEE, the table was employee. In employee table, okay, employee ID is only primary key and not null. It is not auto incremented. Can I make my employee ID auto increment? So I will choose it to be auto increment. I will apply it. So what is the advantage of making my employee ID as auto increment? I need not have to collect employee ID now. Only employee name, designation, salary, email, password. If I collect it is sufficient. Right. So let me go to my project. In my project, how will I start writing my code? So in order to write the code, maybe in the ACAD, com.tab.acad, sorry. First and foremost, I will go to my showemployee.jsp. In showemployee.jsp, before the employee list is displayed and all of it, I want to now create one button here where I will say ahref. I will use it as ahref. And what is this href? Where should it be pointing to? I will have a look at it. But inside this, I will create something called as a button, and button, on the button I will say add employee. So let me try to see this, what will happen. Let me run this code. Tell me, instead of clicking here, instead of using the click here option, instead of using click here option, I will say here as show employee.jsp. Can you tell me what will happen? Can I directly go to show employee.jsp? Can you tell me what is your show employee.jsp doing? Let us assume this is show employee.jsp. Can you tell me what is showEmployee.jsp doing? Sorry? It is displaying me all the employee details. But where is that employee details? Where is that employee details? Sir, that employee details is in the session. Will you agree with me? In the session there is a list called as employee list. From this list, showEmployee.jsp will take the data and display it. Tell me one thing. When will this employee list be added into the session? When the servlet executes? Yes or no? Which servlet? It is fetch all servlet. Sir, there is one servlet called as the fetch all servlet. When this fetch all servlet executes, it is going to put the employee list into the session. Will you agree? Now, am I calling this fetch all servlet? If this fetch all servlet has to be called, how will this fetch all servlet be called? For this fetch all servlet to be called, I need to click here. Without clicking here, will the fetch all servlet be called? What I am doing is, I am bypassing this fetch all I am not calling. If fetch all is not called, you will have data in the session? No. Directly I am going to show employee.jsp. What will happen if I directly go to show employee.jsp? Null pointer exception. Why? Because employee list is null. You are trying to say in employee list, run a loop, get a employee, bring employee details. It is saying, boss, first of all, employee list is null. There is a null pointer exception. If you read the exception, you can see an exception occurred processing showEmployee.jsp at line number 62. What is line number 62? See here correctly. You are passing an employee list to an employee, passing an employee list inside a for each loop and trying to get employee. I hope you are able to understand this. Right? So tell me, why is it not able to display the information? Sorry? Sir, because session is null. Session is null. So what I will do is I will just go back. Now I will click here. Once I click here, servlet is called. Servlet will fetch the data, put the data into the session. Now from the session your JSP file is able to display this. And now I have one button called as add employee. So I want to call this button called as add employee and add an employee into the table. So you can see here, in order to do it, maybe as soon as the user clicks on add employee, I will say, boss, you have to redirect the control to add employee.jsp. I want you to redirect the control to add employee.jsp. So do you have a file called as add employee.jsp? Add employee.jsp is not there, sir. So right click, new file, add employee.jsp. I am going to create. In this add employee.jsp, I will say add employee. Here I am going to write maybe one h1 tag as add employee. All right. So tell me, in order to add an employee, I will create a form tag. In this form tag, what are the details that I need to add? Do I need to collect employee ID? Why? Sir, employee ID is auto incremented, sir. So I will call maybe say employee name, right? Employee name. Then for this one input tag I will write, where I will say input type is equal to text and name is equals to EMP name. See again, I will repeat it today also. Even yesterday there were so many of you who wrote it like this. You have written place holder, okay, spelling mistake. You have written it as placeholder. What do you mean by placeholder? Whatever will be displayed inside the text box. But what is this EMP name? What is that I am assuming this as? I am assuming this as a variable, will you agree? If you write it as a placeholder, it is not treated as a variable. So whatever this data I am entering here, is it stored in any variable? No. In servlet you will call EMP name, EMP name. It will keep giving you null information, null data. So you will have to be very careful again. Instead of writing placeholder, it is name. In the same way, copy this, use a BR tag, paste it, use a BR tag. So total of 5 information is what I need to collect. Yes or no? Because EMP ID I am not collecting. So EMP name, then what is the next column that I have? Designation, okay. Okay, after designation, salary, email and password. Right? So I have employee name, designation, salary, email and password which I am going to collect. So designation I will write it here as designation DSIG. Salary I will write it as a number and the name is salary. Then email I will write it as email. Password I'll tell the type as password and the name as password, and here input type is submit and the name is add employee. Sorry, name, it's not name, it is value. So once the user clicks on this add employee, what should happen? Sir, as soon as the user click, it should now be calling one servlet called as add employee.java. So for that, I will say form action is equal to add employee. Form action is add employee. Okay, sir. Once you write this, what next? Now I will just go create a servlet called as add employee. Where is my servlet? Inside com.tab.acad. I will create a new servlet, and what is the name of this servlet? Add employee is the name of my servlet. So whatever are the unwanted lines, I will just remove away all of these. So again here also I want to establish the connection and all of it. So all these statements from the init method, I will just copy them, come back to my add employee.java. I will just paste it. This is a service method. I will close the service method. So init method has established the connection here. Since I am inserting, I will be using a prepared statement. So I will say it as PSTMT, prepared statement type PSTMT. What is the query is insert EMP is what I will say. What is the query? Insert into employee. What details am I going to insert? EMP name, comma, designation, comma, salary, comma, email, comma, password. Where, sorry, values as question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. Correct? 5 question marks, because I am not asking the user to enter the ID. Okay, sir. Once you have written this, what next? Sorry? Now I have to prepare the statement and all of it. So I will write here try block, and also a catch block catching an exception E, and E dot print stack trace. Okay. Inside the service method now, what is that I need to write? I will say here using pstmt dot, pstmt is equal to con dot prepare statement of insert employee. Now I have prepared the statement. I need to get the data from employee.jsp and I need to set it here into my prepared statement. Will you agree with me? So I will simply say pstmt dot set string. In the first question mark, can you tell me what information should I set? EMP name. Where is EMP name? EMP name is inside add employee.jsp, sir. Will you agree with me? In that, how is that I am referring it to? EMP name. So, I need to get that information, store it in one variable, and that variable I should pass here. Will I use that variable in future? Then why should I store it inside a variable? Instead, I will simply say here as request dot get parameter of EMP name. Can I do it like this? Hello? Can I do it like this? What is that I am saying? Boss, anyways, request dot get parameter of EMP name. You should declare one variable, store it. That variable you should pass it here. Instead of doing all that, directly write request dot get parameter of EMP name directly here. In the same way, I'll just copy this, paste it multiple times. In the second question mark, I want to bring designation. Yes or no? See here in the query. Second is designation, salary, email, password. So when I say I'm going to bring salary, what type of information is salary? Is integer data. As soon as I say it as integer data, this will have a problem because I cannot write it like this. I will say integer dot parseInt. Why is that it is not giving me as parseInt? Integer dot parseInt of request dot get parameter of salary. I hope you are able to understand this. Then this is in the third question mark. In the fourth question mark and fifth question mark, in the fourth it is email, fifth is password. Now once if I have said this, is my query complete? Sorry? Password is? Password is integer. Password will be a string only, man. Password is going to be a string only. But, okay, so you are seeing this and you are saying it is integer. But if you see the employee details, password I have written it as varchar only. Right? It is not integer data anyways. Sir, once you write this, pstmt is complete. Now I will say pstmt dot execute update. What will execute update give me? Int x. So I will say if x not equal to 0. What does it mean if x is not equal to 0? It is success. If success, data will be inserted. If data is inserted, what file should I call now? Show employee.jsp. So I will say response dot send redirect to show employee.jsp. Will you agree with me? In the else case, so I will just copy this and I will just paste it here. I will say failure.jsp. Say I am confident failure.jsp will not be called, so I am not going to create. Right? So let me try to execute this code now. Okay. So I will go to index.jsp, run my application. So you can see here, there is something called as click here. So once I click here, can you tell me what will happen, sir? As soon as you click here, one session is created, sir. Into the session, employee details are added. How many employee details are added? 4 employees, because currently there are 4 employees in my list. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 employees are added. Will you agree with me? What will my show employee.jsp do? From this session it will display the data. Will you agree? If I click here, you can see from the session show employee is showing me 4 employee details. Yes. Now I will click here as add employee. As soon as I click here as add employee, what is that I am doing is I will add a new employee here by saying it as maybe Virat. Designation I will write it as IT. Salary 18,000. Email ID virat at gmail.com. Password 123456. Right? So now I am going to add all this detail. I will click on add employee. Can you tell me if it is success? Where will the control go? It will go to show employee.jsp. Show employee.jsp. What information should it show you? It should show you employee details. How many employee details are you expecting? 5. Why? Sir, because in the database, if success, in the database data will be updated, sir. If it is success, in the database data will be updated. Will you agree? But let me see if it will be success or a failure first of all. I will say here as add employee. Is it success or failure? Failure? Did it call failure.jsp? It is calling success only. Then you should get 5 employees. Why are you getting 4? Tell me, where is this show employee.jsp? Where is this displaying the information from? It is displaying from this session. In session, how many details do you have? That is the reason it is showing 4. Sir, in database is it updated? Sir, first of all, I have doubt there. Let me see. See here, rerun. Data is updated. Then if data is updated, why is data not shown here? It is not added to the session, but session is there. Only 4 employees are there in the session. Who was responsible to add this? Who was responsible to add data into session? Sir, there was one file called as fetch all.java. So this fetch all.java was the person who was adding this data into the session. Which means as soon as I add one employee, don't you feel that employee data should again be fetched and put it into the session? If I don't put the data, what I will have is old data only it will display to me. Are you able to understand this? Then what should I be doing now? Sorry? Sir, you should now call fetch all data, fetch all.java, sir. In order to call fetch all.java, very simple, sir. Go here to index.jsp. Again click here. Now you will be able to see. See, now I am seeing multiple information because 2 times employee list is added. In the session, 2 times employee list is added. But basically what is that I am trying to tell you is now can you see Virat's information being displayed? Why? Now freshly it has added data into the session. Will you agree with me? If I have to stop and rerun, if I have to stop the server and rerun, now Virat's information directly you will be able to see here. Which means, tell me, every time, whenever you want to see the details, can you rerun the application again? Then what should I be doing, sir? Sir, as soon as you enter the details here, as soon as add employee is successful, along with add employee being successful, you now need to call fetchall.java so that fetchall.java will update the session. Fetchall.java will update the session. Are you able to understand this? What should I be doing then? After this is success, what should I be calling? Should I be calling showEmployee.jsp? If I call showEmployee.jsp, old data only it will show. Then rather what should I be doing? Call fetchall.java, sir. So I will go to my project here. I just want you to observe correctly. I will go to the addEmployee.java. In addEmployee.java, when it is success, I will not send a redirect to response.send redirect. I am not sending it to showEmployee. Rather, I will send a redirect. Where? I want to send a redirect to fetch all. So I will say here as fetch all is where I want to send the redirect to. And now I will just rerun my application index.jsp. I will rerun my code. Once if I rerun, you can see there is already a click here. I will click here. So you can see details about 5 employees are present. Now I will say add another employee. This time I will maybe add Dhoni. Then designation tester. Salary 77777. Email ID Dhoni at gmail.com. Password 77777. Right? Now I will say add employee. As soon as I tell add employee, tell me previously how many information was there? Previously 5 employees were there, sir. Now again, one employee you will add, you will call fetch all. Fetch all will go again bring one more employee details, it will add here. I hope you are able to understand this. So if I now call the add employee, you can see 5 employees previously it was present, and now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 employees it is displaying. Sir, but I don't want to do it like this, sir. I don't want to do it like this. Why? What is your program doing as of now? There is already some data. Into the same data it is bringing and fetching and adding more data. Will you agree with me? So what I will do is I will go to this fetch all method. I just want you to observe here. I will go to the fetch all method, fetch all class. In this fetch all class, can you tell me where is that I am adding the details into the list? This is where I am adding the details into the list. Will you agree with me? So I will say, boss, inside this result set, whatever you have, before you add the data into the employee list, I just want you to understand, if EMP list, or maybe I'll simply write one code here by saying EMP list dot clear, and then add the data into the EMP list. Oh, not inside the while loop, because it is like it will add one data clear, add one data clear. I don't want that. Here I will write EMP list dot clear, and then I will say create an employee list and add all the data into the employee list. Is that clear? Can I try this now? Okay. Let me run my code. So I will click here. It is showing you 5 and 6 information. I will now say add the data. I will say Dravid. Designation is a tester again. Salary 7,000. Email ID Dravid at gmail.com. Password some number I have written. I will now say it as add employee. So you can see now correctly it is displaying. Why? Because I wrote that employee list, clear previous list. Now create a new list and add the employees. Is this clear? Hello? So any confusion in this? How to perform add employee? See, add employee, adding the data already you know. Only thing is how you should redirect the control. You should not directly redirect the control to show employee.jsp. Rather, you should call this servlet. That is something additionally you are learning here. There is nothing that you did not know, if you agree with me. Yes or no? Okay, sir. Now what next? What next is in the same show employee.jsp. What I want is, you are able to see the employee list here. Hello? Below each employee, I want to give an edit button. Below each employee, I want to give a edit button. So can I add this edit button first of all? Okay, sir. How will I add this edit button? How will I add edit button? Sir, go to the, which file should I go? Show employee.jsp. Why? Sir, this is only the file, sir, show employee.jsp, which is displaying all this information. So you go to show employee.jsp. Okay. I will go to show employee.jsp. What all information I am showing here? Employee ID, designation, salary, email, password. I am able to display all this. Below this, sir, write one anchor tag ahref and refer it with hash. What button do I want? I need a button called as edit. Will you agree with me? I need a button called as edit. So let me see if I am able to see this edit button first of all. Okay. Let me go to index.jsp. Let me run my code. Click here. Edit button you are able to see. Now tell me, if I click on edit button, what should happen? Sir, assume that I will come to Rahul's information. I will click here saying it as edit. As soon as I click here as edit, will you agree with me? One window should open where I should be able to edit information about Rahul. Tell me, should I be able to edit the ID? Why? ID is primary key, sir, you should not edit. Can I edit designation? Yes, sir, maybe he may get promotion or demotion, that you can edit. Salary also you can edit. Email ID, should I be able to edit? Sir, email ID is given from the company, sir. Why will you edit email ID? Once you get one email ID, as long as he is in that company, the same email ID will be there. Should I be able to edit the password? Password you can give a chance to edit, sir. So what information should I be able to edit? Designation, salary and password. Will you agree with me? But my question is, designation, salary and password of which employee are you editing? Of which employee do you want to edit? Hello? Sir, I want to edit details about Rahul, sir. Tell me, look at the background, logic that I have written in the back, in my program. For this edit button, if I click on this edit button, did I say, boss, this edit button is for Rahul only? Did I say this edit button is for Rahul only? Then for which employee are you going to edit? Are you able to understand this? Hello? Sir, edit it for all the employees, sir. Update employee, set designation equal to question mark, salary equal to question mark, password is equal to question mark. For all the employees you edit, sir. I don't want to do that. Will you agree with me? I need to write a where clause as well. How will I write a where clause? Where either ID or email ID I should be using. Yes or no? But where is that information of ID or email ID? As of now, if I want in this page, do I have employee's email ID, designation, salary? If I want, I can use it. Hello? Are you able to understand this? Tell me, if I click on this edit button, where do you want to take the control to? Hello? Sir, maybe call one file called as edit employee. Call one file called as edit employee. See, once I go to the edit employee, tell me here. Let me just show it to you. I am here in show employee. .JSP. I am in show employee .JSP. Here there is one button called as edit button. See, one thing I want you to understand is edit button. I don't have one single edit button. I have multiple edit buttons. Will you agree with me? So in my page there are so many edit buttons. Will you agree? Now assume that I am going to click on one of this edit button. When I click on one of these edit buttons, I am going to say, boss, the control has to go to edit employee.jsp. My control has to go to edit employee.jsp. Are you able to understand? But for this edit employee.jsp, if the control goes there, I will say, boss, I want you to enter what is the new designation, then what is the new salary, and what is the new password. And there will be one submit button. Assume that I am going to write everything and I am going to click on this submit button. So for which employee are you going to update? Which employee will you update? Don't you feel there is a challenging point here? For which employee should I update, sir? Now to overcome this problem, whatever this edit button I have, I will tell in this edit button only. Boss, see, there are multiple edit buttons here. So let me assume there are 4 or 5 edit buttons. If the user is going to click on the first edit button, it is associated with an employee who is having an employee ID 1. It is associated with an employee who is having an employee ID 1. If the user is clicking on second employee, then it is associated with employee ID 2. Third edit button 3, fourth edit button 4, and so on. Any number of employees you have, I am going to associate the ID through edit button. Right? Okay, associating is okay, sir. But whatever this ID I have, 2, should it be there in showEmployee.jsp only? Don't you feel this ID should be given to editEmployee.jsp so that I can run a query saying update employee sets dash 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 dash, where employee ID is equal to whatever employee ID I have? Can I do that? But my question is, how will I send this ID when I click on edit? When I click on edit, how will I send the ID? See, one thing you need to understand. Any click that I do here, what is it? Request. Any click that I do on a web page, it is a new request. Will you agree with me? So I will say, boss, when I click here, where should the control go? I have written. Where should the control go? It should go to edit employee.jsp. While it is going to edit employee.jsp, I will say along with the control, I also want to send the ID as 2. Tell me, if I send ID as a 2, maybe in that page, which is my edit employee.jsp, do you want to simply show one blank page and ask the user to update? It would be better if I show the previous data. Based on this ID, if I can fetch the data and display, it will be better. So, tell me, can your JSP go and talk to the database? JSP should not go and talk to the database, sir. So, I will say, boss, don't call employee.jsp, rather call one servlet. What should this servlet do now? So I will call it as fetch on id.java. What will this fetch on id.java do? It will have this id, maybe I will write it here as fetch on id is the URL. So as soon as I click on this edit button, it will go to fetch on id. It will bring the id to, using the request parameter, it will get to. Then whatever information is there, all this information, it will put it into the session and call edit employee.java. So once edit employee.java is called, here from the session I will display what is the designation, salary, password. I'll ask the user, please update. Once the user clicks on the submit button, I will now call one servlet. So let me resize it a little. So as soon as the user calls this submit button, I will now call one servlet. What is the name of this servlet? Maybe I will say update employee. So update emp.java, which will again write some lines of code to go to the database, update. Again, update can be either success or failure. If it is a failure, I will call failure.jsp. If it is a success, what page should I call? Should I call success.jsp? No. Then what should I call? Show employee. Directly should I call show employee? What will happen if I call show employee directly? Data will not be updated, sir, because in the session, whatever is the old data will be present. I have to update the session. So I will call fetch all.java again. So once I call fetch all.java, fetch all.java will call me show employee.jsp. Are you able to understand this? See, I know how to send this ID, how to associate ID with the edit button is a small question mark. But apart from that, the rest of the code, are you able to understand this? Right? I hope by now you are able to understand in a project how multiple files will keep interacting with one another. Whenever you write a project, it is not isolated on its own. Every file will keep interacting with every other file. I hope you are able to understand this. Right? So anyways, how to implement this, we will look at it in tomorrow's session, because how to associate with the ID and then send it, all this it is going to take a minimum of 15 to 20 minutes. So I'm sure we'll try to do it in tomorrow's session. Right? So tomorrow we will perform edit and also delete operations. So if we perform edit and delete operations, all the 5 basic operations. First, inserting the data, I have completed it today. Fetching all data, we have already completed yesterday. When I click on edit button, I will only be fetching specific data of one single employee. Then when I click on edit button, update operation is also over. Along with this edit button, what I will have is, I will also give one more button called as delete. If I click on delete, it is going to delete the data. I hope you are able to understand this. So all 5 basic CRUD operations is what we will be doing, and we will be finishing it in tomorrow's session. So once you learn all these 5 operations, for all those who are still missing out the project session, I will tell you in project, nothing apart from these 5 operations we are doing. So anybody who is still missing out on the project session, go back, watch the videos, finish the project. Anyways, so I'll halt my session here. I'll see you all in tomorrow's session. And project will also be there again. Thank you so much.